I'm Tristan. I'm going to be going over chapter 17 and then Jamie Oliver's TED Talk. I'm still a little bit sick. I have bronchitis and walking pneumonia, but it's getting better, so hopefully this video won't be too bad this time. So in his TED Talk, he discusses that the biggest causes of death in the US are going to be diet related, and we need to make the changes to our diet if we wish to live longer and healthier lives. I'd say our food system is greatly causing these issues. So the US is really big compared to other countries and things like that. And so I personally felt like we're kind of predisposed to these issues because our farms are set quite far away from the towns versus in other places like Europe where the farm is right there in your town and you can get access to fresh foods very quickly. And because the US is not set up that way, we have these big cities and our farms are super far away. It's harder to get fresh goods, and because of that, we preserve a lot of foods. Also, we work with a lot of other countries, so our food's being imported from other countries as well as just shipped really far away in the US. So yeah, I felt like that's a really big problem. And then besides it overall being a poor setup for our country, we also lack the education in our schools. We don't properly educate people on proper dietary and eating habits. And this was discussed heavily throughout this video. Especially our school systems, of all places. The lunches provided at schools are often lacking in nutrition. There isn't enough money being provided for food. And so school lunches are often poor quality, heavily processed, and they're just overall unhealthy. When you set up a system that doesn't financially support proper health and food quality and everything, you're going to be screwed. And so we're not educating people on what they need to be eating, how much they should be eating, where to get it from. And then not only are you not educating people, you're then providing them with poor quality food. And so the problem is just continuing, and in a lot of parts of the US, there's like a lot of children that the only meals that they're getting every day are the school provided foods, that they're not getting food at home. So then, I mean, they're really screwed. They're not going to be educated on how to eat better, and especially even as adults. And so this continues, and then we're passing this on generation after generation, and guess what? It just gets worse. So yeah. Personally, I can even remember growing up in school and seeing some of the food being provided to be expired, especially the milk. I'm sure we've all been traumatized by that a time or two, and that like should not be happening. In no way should a school be providing expired food. That is absolutely insane. So I grew up with a mom that was like a fitness trainer, and we were very like, I'd say she was decently picky about food, and I was very fortunate to pack lunches and stuff, but I still feel like even with that, like there were definitely bad eating habits that were enforced because I mean she wasn't properly educated on it. She grew up in a very like poor household, so she doesn't know how to make very like healthy, well-balanced meals. And even her like trying to be like fitness girly and healthy, she wasn't always like teaching us how to create a balanced meal. Like it would be very like leaning to like one nutrient versus the other, and it just is not good. You need a proper balance. As for chapter 17, this video, our TED Talk that we went over is a persuasive speech, which is all about this chapter. I said he used all factors of persuasion: ethos, pathos, and logos. So first, he starts by giving us data, which is appealing to logos. He gives us statistics and really proves his point on the US having mostly issues of death related to health problems. And then he goes on to discuss his travels, and he tells us stories about helping others. He uses logos by establishing credibility. He shows us he actually has experience in this department. He goes out and helps people in different areas. And then he discussed a girl that was heavily obese, who's 16 years old in West Virginia, Brittany, I believe, and that she only has 6 years to live. I felt like this was very emotional and really pulled out like the pathos side of things, because then we have like, we feel guilt for this young girl who's just been it's not her fault that she was raised in a system that doesn't value our nutrition and our healthcare. But yeah.